Greetings and God bless. I wanted to do a little video about what I think should be done in terms of the housing crisis. Most cities, they want like landlords, real estate property. If you're renting, they want you to make three times the rent. But I'm looking at this one website. It's called Versus, VERSUS.com. So I'm looking at the average salary. I'm thinking it's per month in New York is $6,000, and the average rent is $3,300. $3,279. So even for New York, the average rent is taking half of the salary of somebody in New York. And I'm sure that property management companies know this, but I do believe that there's this ruthless housing mentality, and that people who are investors or property management company, like outside of the job, they're probably decent people. But when it comes to housing, for some reason, they're like crazy mean because they want half of somebody's income. And you know what? They don't need it. Like, yes, they're buying new properties. Yes, they have to send their children to expensive vacations and colleges and buy them brand new things because that's what these greedy people say. They're doing it for their children, or they're doing it for their grandchildren, or they're doing it for the environment, because they're going to make us eat fake meat products or something like that. But let me just fix this. Sorry about the noise there. So what I think, so if the average salary in New York City is $6,058, let's say, then I think property management companies and investors need to make rents a third of that. So it should be $2,000, let's say. So the average rent should actually be a third of what the average salary is. And that is still very generous because I'm pretty sure the entry level people, the entry level employees are probably not making $6,000. The entry level employees are probably making 2,000, maybe. And what these landlords and property management and investors would say is, if a person can't afford it, they need to get another job. And if that job is only making 4,000, they should get a third job. That's the way it is. And hence we have this. I mean, I don't think it's all the reason why we have this housing crisis, but I do think, like, if you are an investor, a landlord, and if you have a heart, just do a search of what the local salary is for the people who would be renting from you. Now, a lot of people, a lot of people are not going to spend $6,000 a month. If you're out in, like, where people have bought a home, so a mortgage maybe is $500 a month. And yes, people did do a down payment or whatever of 20,000 or whatever, but renters are paying an incredible penalty, like $6,000, and they don't even own it. Like, they're just paying for proximity, it's valuable. I mean, I certainly don't want to pay $6,000, and um, you know. And I think what people are doing is they're asking their parents and grandparents, and yes, working, extra jobs, and probably doing shady things on the side to make these ridiculous inflated rents. And I think that landlords and property managers should, I mean, I know what I'm saying is so crazy, but just look at the average salary and make your rent according to that, rather than this, like, insane amount. It's just so greedy. And I think, like, if we go into like conspiracy theory land, these people don't even necessarily need all this money. I think the whole point is to stress every member of society. So entry level workers don't have, healthy environments. Just people in general, we're exposed to all these toxins in our food, air, water. So the entry level workers are under attack, kind of just in a crummy work situation. And then these middle class people, middle to upper class, are like expected to pay out the nose. And what landlords, property managers are doing is they're forcing people to have to ask their parents or grandparents to help pay, because somebody making $3,200 dollars, how are they gonna well, so when the rent's $3,200 and they are making a little over $6,000, like, so they only have $3,000 left for their lifestyle. And if somebody is making $6,000 and paying for a $3,000 apartment, the three and the six is not lost on me, but that person is not living in their means of only $3,000 a month. A $6,000 a month employee, that's a pretty rich person. So, you know, or at least that's been my excuse me, my observation. So I could be wrong, but yeah. Um, so what do you guys think? I know I'm being idealistic here, and people would say that I'm not being a capitalist, but I'm just like, I believe in capitalism. I believe in commerce. But like, if I'm gonna sell a bag of candy, am I gonna say I'm gonna sell this for $1 million? Like, is that really capitalism? Like, is that really sensible? So when people are making $6,000 and you're expecting the average worker to pay half of their entire monthly wage on rent, and the thing is, property managers, landlords, they're carefully analyzing people's finances. So I don't understand why they're so illogical. Like, they're making rents so inaccessible. And I don't know if that's the point, if it's to create like an invisible apartheid, an invisible gated community in New York City by raising the rents like that. And the thing is, like, from what I understand, is the government does pay some people's rents. I don't think they would pay 6,000, but I don't know. Um, so when you are pricing out your average middle class, lower middle class people with the crazy rents, you're only going to get wealthy people with trust fund accounts living there. And sorry, but that's not somebody who's contributing to the world. Like, from what I've observed about people who are trust fund kids, is like they're kind of lost people, and they're traveling, and yes, they're good for spending money on travel and substances and things like partying and stuff like that. But is that really what you build a civilization on? No. You build a good city when there's places to eat and places to do practical things like take a bus or wash your clothes, or buy your groceries, get your shoes repaired. And that's not the trust fund kids. That's going to build your city. And the entitled rich people, they're not necessarily really contributing, because they're off in Bermuda or Florida or Spain or something like that. Like, they're not necessarily investing in the city, because I mean, of course, I do not know everything firsthand. I'm just kind of like, from what I observe, it's the middle class. It's the working middle class, the people that show up day in, day out. They take out the trash. They make your bread, and they put up with a lot of crap, and they still show up. Like that. That to me is who runs the world. And I would say, it's the entry level people who get the most flack in the least amount of money. Like, those are the real heroes of just of all time, actually, because they're totally exploited. They're totally doing charity, working for so little for these abusive companies, and then paying. They're doing charity for landlords and property management companies, because these entry level people have to pay crazy inflated prices for a slum that they're forced to live in, because that's just what's available. That's what the landlord and property manager just, because the property managers get away with murder, because all the city wants is property taxes. So the city won't protect tenants, because tenants are irrelevant, and it's a landlord's market pretty much in every city. There's just very little protection for a renter, because the city just wants its money, it wants its property taxes. And so anyway, there's no justice in the world, and I'm sure there's a handful of decent landlords, property managers, city employees that are actually decent and not going to burn in hell or face some serious talking to by our Father God or Lord Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's that's those are my thoughts. That I think if there was a decent property management company landlord, you need to look at the average salary of the demographic of people who are going to rent your place. And you can't have your rent be half of what the average people that work there do. It's you're setting people up to fail. And I think property management is a criminal enterprise. It's an abusive enterprise, because a lot of people would say, well, that's just the renter's problem. If they can't afford this astronomical rent, that it's not worth it. And if even though the wages are, double like the rent. Um, but anyways, those are my thoughts. And yeah, if you're a landlord, like, just make your rent a third of what the average salary is, because you want your renter to be able to pay triple what your rent is. And yes, you're not going to get whatever, like, so your mortgage is probably maybe 200, and then you pay property taxes. Let's say it's $6,000. So let's see what the let's do $6,000 divided by 12. So okay, so it's 500. So so if we're gonna have let's say that you have expensive property taxes, so you need to get maybe $700. So rather than, I'm just gonna call it $3,000. So 3,000 divided by 700. So people are charging 4 times what they need to make even. So why not, charge? So let's say if the monthly wage salary that people get is $6,000, and you want to make, a profit. So you want to cover your balance. So that would be $700, and so you want to make a profit. So I mean, why not call it 1,500? I know people are like, but I want to make 3,000, but invest in eternity. What will please God? That you've exploited people and driven them to dire straits, to pay, you know, like triple what you really need. I mean, you need them to pay the balance. And the thing is, that's just one apartment. So actually, you don't even need to charge four times, because if you're renting, let's say, an apartment building, you have so many people in that apartment building, so you're making crazy profit. And um, I know it's hard to let go of an extravagant lifestyle and status and what people think of you and stuff. But like, if you really, so many rich people are going to these galas and, save the whales or save whoever. If you really want to help people, make your rents affordable. Yes, make sure you cover your expenses, but how about give your renters a break? And the thing is, yes, some of your renters, I'm sure, are horrible people, bad people. They destroy your property, and you have to, put that in your rent. I'm sure, like that's reasonable too. Although it is cliche when somebody wrecks an apartment, places do not do a proper real repair. It's more cosmetics, but we don't need to digress on that. So I think if you really want to help the world, landlords and property management companies, instead of exploiting renters, make sure you cover your expenses with what rent you request. But, instead of charging half of what people make, charge a third, so instead of 3,000, maybe charge 1,500 or $2,000. And I know that would be a humble concept, and you would probably feel embarrassed hanging out with your other ruthless friends, but it would make such a difference. And it won't make the world a perfect place, but it will help some people. And there is such a dire housing issue. Why not? Like, try it out. And you have the option to raise the rent again back if you don't like doing it this way. But these are my wild thoughts. So thank you for listening. God bless.